All right, so in this video, we're looking at a different type of division. So we did synthetic division last week, and we're going to be looking at long division today and tomorrow. So on slide 13, it just says that synthetic division can only be used when you're dividing by 1x minus a number or 1x plus a number. If the divisor looks any different than that, then we have to use long division. Now, you can use long division anytime, but long division is a little harder. So that's why when we can, we try to use synthetic division. But long division will actually work for any problem. Synthetic only works for some. On slide 13, there's a video from YouTube. So if you find yourself wanting even more examples than this video, you can always go back and watch that one. All right, so I'm going to write down the problem from slide 14. 12v to the third plus 38v squared minus 16v minus 20 divided by 6v minus 5. All right. So first thing I wanted to kind of make sure that we really talked about. Remember we said that this is the dividend and this is the divisor. If your divisor has a number in front of the variable, like the 6 that's here, so 6v or 6x or 6, whatever the variable is, because of that 6 being there, or any number besides 1, that's why we have to use long division. All right, so if it had been just like v minus 5, we could use synthetic division. So that's why we have to use long division here. So when you're using long division, the way that you set it up, you put the dividend inside a division symbol. If you remember way back, elementary school, when you learned long division of numbers, right? And you would put the dividend inside the division sign, and the divisor goes out here, right? That's how you set it up. Now, when you go through long division, you repeat a pattern, and that pattern is you divide, you multiply, and then you subtract. All right, and then you just keep repeating in this pattern. So when we say divide, the only thing you actually divide, you divide the first term of the dividend by the first term of the divisor. Okay, so that's the only thing you divide first when it says we divide. So we do 12v cubed divided by 6v. Okay, so first term divided by first term. And when we do this, you divide the big numbers, the coefficients. 12 divided by 6 is 2. When you divide v to the third divided by v, you really just subtract the exponents. So it makes it v squared, because this is 3 and this is 1. So 3 minus 1 is 2. So 12v to the third divided by 6v is 2v squared. And when you divide, that is part of your quotient or part of your answer. And the answer or the quotient is found on top of the division sign on this one. So 2v squared. Okay. So we divided. After you've divided and wrote your answer up here, then you multiply. And what you multiply is your answer by the entire divisor. So you multiply by the divisor. So you're doing 2v squared times the whole thing, 6v minus 5, multiply by all of it. And when I do that, I get 12v to the third minus 10v squared. Okay. So what you get when you multiply, and some people like to write it to the side like this. Some people are okay just multiplying it and lining it up. What we're really doing is we did 2v squared times 6v, right? And we got 12v cubed. So we write that directly under this v cubed. And when we multiplied our 2v squared by -5 and we got -10v squared, we write that directly under the v squared that we already had. So minus 10v squared. So we line up, we match up the like terms. Okay, so we have multiplied. The last thing we do is we subtract. So when we subtract, you just want to remember that you're subtracting this whole thing. So like 12v cubed minus 12v cubed, and that makes this go away, which should always happen. That's the point of our division, is to make terms go away until there's nothing left. Here we've got 38 minus -10. So if you needed to grab the calculator for it, 38 minus -10 is 48. And when you add and subtract, remember you keep the exponent, so it's just 48v squared. Bring anything down that you didn't subtract from. And look, you just subtracted. Now you just do everything again. You start the problem over, basically. So now where we did our first term divided by our first term, now we're dividing, this is our first term, 48v squared. But we're still dividing by 6v, right? And we're just gonna go through these steps again. We just do it all again. So now we're doing 48v squared. Okay, 48v squared, and we're still dividing by just 6v. Right, we get 8 when we divide the numbers. V squared divided by v is v. We get 8v back. Okay, so 48v squared divided by 6v is a positive 8v. So now we've divided again. After we divide, we take that new term that we wrote up here and we multiply it by the divisor. So we do 8v times 6v. 8v times 6v is 48v squared. And then we do 8v times -5, and we get -40v. And so we multiplied 8v by the divisor. All right. Last thing we do is subtract. We subtract both of these. So we subtract the whole thing. 48v squared minus 48v squared goes away. Perfect. Negative, and type it in exactly like you see it. -16 minus -40. And we get 24 back. -16 subtract -40 is positive 24v. And then bring down the -20. Okay. We subtracted. And look, we do everything again. We just repeat these same 3 steps all over again. Now we're dividing 24v by 6v. All right, 24v by 6v. 24 divided by 6 is positive 4. And the v's, because they have the same exponent, they go away. So when you divide 24v by 6v, you just get positive 4. So we divided. All right, now we multiply. 4 times 6v is 24v. 4 times -5 is -20. And when you subtract, you actually, this time you get 0, which means there's no remainder. We can see some of these that have a remainder, and that would just mean we had something left and we couldn't divide anymore. But this one has no remainder because when we subtract, there's nothing left, right? 24v minus 24v goes away. -20 minus a -20 is also 0. So our answer is just found up top. It's 2v squared plus 8v plus 4. 2v squared plus 8v plus 4. Okay. All right, I'm going to work one more of these out, and I'm going to go through this one a little quicker. Okay. All right, so this time I've already set it up, our dividend and our divisor. I can't use synthetic division because there's a 2 in front of the x, and I wrote a v instead of an x there, so let me fix that. All right, so same thing as before. We start by dividing first term, 14x to the 4th by 2x, first term by first term, and I get 7x to the 3rd. Okay. And then anything I write up top, I multiply by the entire divisor. 7x cubed times 2x is 14x to the 4th. And 7x cubed times -1 is -7x to the 3rd. Okay. Then we subtract. 14 minus 14 is gone. -5 minus -7 is +2. And then you bring the x cubed down, right? When you combine like terms, you just bring that exponent down. All right, and then bring the terms we didn't use down, and we start that process over. 2x to the 3rd divided by 2x is a positive, so we do a plus. 1, you can write the 1 if you like, you don't have to. X squared. Okay, whenever we write up here, we multiply, so 1x squared times 2x is 2x to the 3rd, and 1x squared times -1 is -1x squared. And then remember, we are always subtracting. Don't forget that. We're subtracting both terms. So 2 minus 2 goes away. -11 minus -1 gives me -10x squared. And then bring down the terms you did not use. All right, you do it again. -10x squared divided by +2x is -5x. So you write -5x. Multiply. -5x times 2x is -10x squared. -5x times -1 is +5x. And then we subtract. -10 minus -10. And remember, any of these numbers, if you get stuck, just feel free to type them in. -10 minus -10, just to make sure that it gave you 0, right? Just to make sure that it canceled out. And it did. -11 minus 5 is -16x. And then bring down that +8 because we didn't do anything to it. All right. -16x divided by +2x is -8. -8 times 2x is -16x. And -8 times 1 is 8. So when you subtract, you are left with 0 again. So this one also had no remainder. If you have a remainder ever, if you ever have one like that, you write it the same way we did with synthetic division. You would just write plus, and then you'd write your remainder divided by this divisor. So that's the only then you do with your remainder. So this is our answer, 7x to the third. 7x to the third plus 1x squared minus 5x minus 8. No remainder. All right, so that is it for this video. Remember that that's 2 examples, but if you want more examples, you can go back on your slideshow to slide 13 and watch some more examples of long division. And then don't forget today, after watching this video, you need to fill out the exit ticket that was given to you, the link for that Google form, all right? Tomorrow, we'll be working on long division in class more, where you'll be working on an assignment. You can ask me questions. And so if you have questions, feel free to go ahead and email me and we can look at it today, or we can look at it during class tomorrow. All right, thank you.